Good morning, my friends. Welcome back for another episode of Iwouldcampthat. If I look a little tired and like I've been up all night, it's because I have been. For those of you that have been following our channel for some time, if you're new to our channel, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come check this video out. Happy to have you. For those of you that have been following for a while, you know that I am a shift worker. I do 4 on, 4 off. And so rotating like two sets of days, 4 on, 4 off, 2 sets of nights, 4 on, 4 off. I just finished my first set of nights and I'm between night sets now. So I have been up all night. That's usually when I get a lot of my editing and such done. What we're going to be doing today is I'm out at a beautiful, really huge crown land area off of a gravel road. And we're going to be doing a daytime sleep in the truck camping rig. I haven't done a daytime sleep in a good while. When I first started my job out where we live now, and I was living part-time out of the rig while Rita and I were trying to find a place to live, I would come out here for my set of 4 and I would go to places like this and I'd sleep in the truck. If I'm being completely honest, sleeping in my truck during the daytime is not my favorite thing to do. You're never guaranteed a good sleep. It's, you're sleeping in the daytime when the sun's beating down on your rig. Sometimes, like people are going to be more active. You might have people making noise, or I've had people literally walk up to my truck before while I'm sleeping in it during the day and just curious, like, oh, what's this truck doing here? And it's like, just mind your own business and go away. I'm trying to sleep. So this area is just massive. I've got the truck parked right over here. Sun is rising in that direction. And there's literally nobody out here right now. This particular area is really popular during hunting season. Rita and I have driven out here before, and you'll get 30-foot trailers parked along the tree line or even in the trees. And there's actually a setup in there where they've got like poles put up between 2 trees where they can hang animal carcasses if they end up catching something. But given that it's not hunting season right now, really nobody out here. So I know the camping formula is usually we do the video, do the things, I show you what I want to show you, we deal with anything spontaneous that comes up, then I go to sleep and follow up in the morning. And sometimes, a lot of times, that ends up being the end of the video. Given that this is a daytime sleep and I have been up all night and I am really tired, I'm having a hard time even doing commentary right now because I'm just ready for bed. We're going to climb in the back. I'm going to have my sleep. I want to show you folks more of this area once I've had some sleep and I'm more awake and feeling more human. And I also want to talk more about daytime sleeping. After I've had my daytime sleep, we'll see if I have a good sleep or not. Whether you're a shift worker or not, whether you plan to sleep in the back of your truck or van or whatever during the daytime, sometimes sleeping in your vehicle in the daytime is completely spontaneous and unplanned. We say this a lot on the channel, things don't always go as planned. You might go to have a camp and end up just not having a good sleep. I mean, I've been open about the fact that I'm diabetic and I'm a shift worker. I've had camps like that too, where I go out and I just have a really bad sleep, and then the next day I'm pulling over and taking a nap. There might have been a reason that you had to leave your camp, such as maybe you had someone come into the camp and they were being sketchy and taking a bit too much of interest in your vehicle, and sometimes people are weird like that. Or problem animal encounter, maybe you're camping and then you have a bear or something that's taken too much of an interest in your rig and you got to leave. Things can happen unplanned, and then the next day you're going, oh, I'm tired, I need a nap. Sleep space is a little bit of a mess right now. That's an understatement. I was doing a little bit of work back here before coming out to do this video, so I'll straighten that up a little bit before we go to sleep. Okay, I tidied up a little bit. Very much stress a little bit Definitely got to do some more organizing back here. That's always a losing battle. Like I said, when I was climbing in, I did do some work back here. So I had like all the pillows over on that side because I was using them as a backrest. One thing that I do have to do every year after winter is I have to redo the tape on the Reflectix on the back of the canopy here. Canadian winters, we had a pretty mild winter, but still had some pretty big cold snaps as per Canadian norm. And the wintertime does an absolute number on the tape back here. So took off a bunch of the tape, trimmed some of it off, and just replaced it with some more Gorilla tape. That's a small bit of maintenance. If I have to do that once a year, that doesn't bother me at all. But without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera off, get some shut-eye. We'll chat more once I'm awake.
Hey everyone. I just woke up a few minutes ago. It's 2:15 in the afternoon. Last I remember looking at my watch was maybe like 7:45 in the morning. And according to my watch, it's 18 degrees Celsius out now. I think it's supposed to get quite a bit warmer as the afternoon progresses. Let's go ahead and get some light in here now that I'm awake. Well, as far as night shift problems and day shift sleeps go, that was actually a really good sleep. I started to wake up like maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. I did hear a truck or a vehicle or something go by earlier, but otherwise, yeah, it's just been dead quiet out here. Oh, it looks like I heard right. There are a couple of trucks that weren't here before. So when it comes to daytime sleeping in your rig, having something like curtains, panels, stuff to keep the light out is absolutely paramount. It's huge. So we have a video of our setup for our curtains and our panels. Rita did pretty well most, if not all, of the work on that. I'll have a link to that in the description below if you want to see how that was set up. So the coverings and everything that we have serve a few purposes. There's light mitigation so that you keep it as dark in your rig as possible. There's also temperature mitigation to keep the heat out. Because you definitely don't want to be sleeping in the back of a rig and getting overheated. That's a recipe for waking up feeling like garbage, headache, heat exhaustion, all that stuff. I had a really awful time when we first started truck camping. I went on like my first bigger truck camp. This was like months before we started the channel. Did not have adequate window coverings, and I woke up and almost felt like sick, like I was gonna throw up. It was awful. And another purpose as well is noise mitigation. That's one thing I can say that our coverings do a really good job at, is the noise muffling. Noise mitigation is kind of a double-edged sword because, like, in one sense, you want to keep things like the noise muffled while you're trying to sleep, but then it's also going to be a little harder for you to hear what's going on outside your truck. But that's where, having a window cracked, which, you should have a window cracked for fresh air and to aid with condensation and such anyways. I mean, condensation is not as huge of a problem in the summertime as it is in winter. Our rig, with the way we have it set up with the curtains and the stealth panels and the Reflectix on the back window and even on the cab window right behind me there, does an excellent job of noise mitigation and muffling noise. I remember when Rita and I were still living out closer to the big city, Edmonton, I was sleeping off a night shift. This would have been a few years ago. And there was this one spot that we like to go to. It was it's appeared in a couple of our videos. There was a spot we like to go to. It was like a gravel parking pullout for a walking trail. and good spot. Like no one ever really bothered us out there. And I remember waking up and I heard like the sound, like a really muffled noise of vehicles, maybe like some voices. And I was like, oh, what is all that? Like, is someone out there? And I open the back and I stick my head out and there's like road work going on all around me. And suddenly it's super loud now that I've opened the back. And I was just shocked because I was like, how did I sleep through all that? But our setup is by no means perfect. When I laid down to go to sleep, I actually noticed, because I had to redo a whole bunch of the tape on the back window here due to the, just transitioning out of winter, and a lot of the adhesive got wrecked by the cold. There was actually like a little speck right here that I'd missed, like right behind the bracket there. And yeah, the sun, the light was just hitting it at just the right angle, that it was just piercing through and blasting me right in the eye. So right after I turned off the camera, I went up and just threw a bit more tape on that because that was bugging me. But otherwise, this piece on the back is fantastic. Keeps the light out. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of light that gets through in the back there. We could also probably benefit from adjusting the canopy a little bit because it does shift over time, and then sometimes that back window entrance does get a little out of line. And another thing too, Rita and I have talked about doing this, but because I don't do a ton of daytime sleeps, we just haven't really gotten around to it. Is I don't know if you noticed when I first woke up, before I opened the curtain and let some light in here, but like these panels do fantastic, but light does kind of tend to bleed through them a little bit, and they almost get kind of like a glow effect. So one thing we could do, and I've seen other vehicle campers do this, is we could get like some dark fabric that's designed to keep light out and layer it on this just to help keep more light out and get it more dark in here. And another thing that we have as well too, I've got this cheap little Walmart fan that has served me well. Now this is a USB fan plugged into my ever faithful Jackery 1000, which is sitting at 97%. So this fan tends to run at a constant 3 watts of output, which is absolutely nothing. But it makes a huge difference just being right by the window. It's got this little piece here. Got to be careful it doesn't get knocked over. It does get knocked over pretty easily. But yeah, just it's got the one setting. And having that going is huge for temperature mitigation because it really cooled things down in here. Like I just turned it on, it's this cheap little fan, and already that feels a lot better. And anyone who knows me knows that I really like my fans and I really like my white noise as well. So that really helps for better quality sleep. And if you're vehicle camping and you don't have or don't want to use a battery bank or haul that around for a daytime sleep, there's also this little guy here. This guy's appeared in some of our videos too. So this is technically meant to be a stroller fan. And this guy uses a 3.6 volt battery. Really nice fan. It's got 3 different levels on it. Obviously the battery's going to die a lot faster if you're using one of the like the medium or the higher level. It's also got a little LED light function as well too. Unfortunately, I don't have a battery in it right now because I knew I was going to use the USB fan. Another thing I like about this fan too as well, and this really comes in handy for winter camping, is it's got the little tripod legs here, which are completely malleable. You can move them around as you want, wrap them around things. When I'm winter camping, I'll have the buddy heater over there, and I'll actually have this wrapped around the support bracket. I've used the USB fan as well too, but that helps to distribute heat. It helps with condensation. So a couple of different options. I can have a link to assuming the Amazon link for this fan. I've had this fan for a while, so assuming it they still sell it on Amazon, I can have the link to that in the description below if you're in the market for one of those portable little fans. Another thing that's important, if you're going to be sleeping in your rig in the warmer weather, stay hydrated. Make sure you got some water. especially if it does get really hot and you wake up feeling pretty cooked. Definitely stay hydrated. When it comes to layers and stuff, I looked ahead at the temperature. I'm just wearing a t-shirt and shorts. If I come out and it's winter or even the fall, sometimes I'll be wearing like sweatpants, shirt, maybe a sweater. Sometimes I'll have my coat on for the first little bit and then I'll eventually take it off. For blankets, I had the 2 blankets on in the morning just because it was a little cooler. Eventually I ended up kicking one off in my sleep. Didn't even have, sometimes I have slippers, like insulated slippers that I'll wear, but because it's getting a lot warmer, I had them on initially, but I kicked them off before I even went to bed and I just had socks on. And I do get a little bit of light that bleeds in through the lower part of the tailgate. So like I've got our 12-volt blanket, heated blanket here that we use for winter camping. So I had that there just to kind of keep that bit of light out. And then I had my go bag and another like a hunting bag over at the other corner just to try and keep some of that light out. So if you do have spots where a bit of light's bleeding in, you can just move some of your gear around and try to use that for light mitigation as well. One lovely thing about our curtains, and again, I will have a link to our setup for curtains and panels that we did years ago in the description below for anybody that's interested in checking that out, is we've got these Velcro strips that Rita stitched those into our liner using dental floss. So these are absolutely wonderful. I'm just gonna put that back up, or try to. There we go. Put that back up just to show you the difference and just how dark it gets back here. I mean, you are gonna have some light bleed in at the bottom. And there goes my fan. But between the fan and some of your other stuff, like I can put the fan here. I've got this little portable charger for my phone. You can kind of just stack some things here to help eliminate some of that light that's coming in at the bottom. And another cool feature about these curtains is these are technically blackout fabric curtains. So not only do they really help to keep the light out, they also help a little bit with temperature mitigation. Like I've noticed it even in the winter time, that having those up by the windows, and of course we wouldn't have the window open this much in winter camping. Winter camping it would be more like this. It does help, not much, but it does help a little bit with keeping it maybe like a degree warmer in here. And because these curtains are a thicker fabric, they do help with the noise mitigation side of things as well too. So that's a really nice feature. We've been using these for a few years now, and they have been absolutely fantastic. The one thing I will caution, if you do emulate a setup like this and you do have a carpeted liner, is just be really, really careful. I normally don't have my pillows stacked up like this, but when I'm in here by myself, I like to sleep diagonally. So I'm gonna move those immediately. Is be really careful that you don't have like a lot of like your own weight or pillows or gear pulling down on these curtains, because this can get ripped right off and like it'll go back up. But the problem is it puts a bit of a strain on the liner. This side's not so bad, but I know over on Rita's side, like the liner's actually starting to like come detached over here and bubble a little bit. And that's from strain on the curtain and other things putting weight and stress on it. So now we come to the Reflectix panel on the cab window. And as you can see, I've still got a little bit of maintenance work I got to do. I've got an old ratty piece of tape that's been up there for a few years that needs to come off. And I had another pillow over here to keep light, because sometimes light likes to creep in from that back corner there. So that's why that pillow was there, to keep that out. Now with this back cab panel, for security purposes, I did end up putting some new tape on like I did for the back one, just to keep that secure. With this one, I take a bit of a different approach. If you probably see it right there, I have it all detached at the top here. And the reason for that is so that I can pull this down, and just for security purposes and safety purposes, I can look out into the cab. I can check and see if I forgot to lock a door, or a common one is I forgot to turn a light off and don't want to wake up with a dead battery. I'm not using it right now, but another cool feature is I can look and see if the fridge has power, just in case that got knocked loose. And, you know, I can also see if, you know, a window's been smashed, or also just looking around the truck before I jump out, just to make sure there's no wildlife or nobody creeping around the truck, or any reason why I shouldn't be getting out. Oh, wow. Super nice out, but bit smoky. We've got a couple of wildfires creeping up in the Alberta area already, so I think we've got some smoke rolling in from one of the fires. Well, as always, thanks for joining me for another I Would Camp That video. And like I said, daytime sleep's not my favorite thing to do, but I had a really good sleep. Smoke aside, kept nice and cool. Was fresh air when I first went to bed this morning, but I am going to get back in the truck and head back home. I don't have cell service out here. We did have a couple of wildfire notifications coming in for other parts of the province yesterday, and last year our part of the province had to evac twice in 5 weeks. That was not a good time. So I want to get back home, get back to Rita, and double check the Alberta Emergency Alert app just to see if anything's changed while we've been out here and off the grid. Well, thanks again for joining me, folks. Stay classy. We will see you in our next adventure.